Hi, this is Jamie Magridge coming to you from my craft table today. I've got a couple cards I want to show you with a stamp set called Forever Lovely that's coming out of the 2019 Occasions catalog. It starts on January 3rd. So let me scroll down and show you. They're both really simple cards. One's a clean and simple card, which is usually very difficult for me, but this came out very nice. And let me scroll down and show you how to do these cards today. Make sure there's not a glare. There seems to be a glare today. I don't want it dark either. Okay, well, let's try it there, okay? Alright. These are the two cards. This is the first one. Again, it's a clean and simple card. It's just one layer on a card base. Single layer card, which I normally don't do. I usually put lots of layers, but this is so detailed and elegant. It just suits itself for a clean and simple card. And this is my stepped up version. So let's get started today. Okay, again, we're going to be using the Forever Lovely stamp set. It's from the Occasions catalog. You can't order it unless you're a demonstrator at this point, but it comes available to everybody January 3rd. Okay, and I'm going to be using this stamp, and this stamp. These are multi-layer stamps. Okay, so for the first card, the cards aside so I don't soil them. It's just two layers. It's a card piece of, this one is a thick Whisper White, which is 4 1/4 by 5 3/4. I have a card base, which is Melon Mambo, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Place that aside for a minute. And we're going to be using Melon Mambo, Pear Pizzazz, and Memento ink pads. And then 3 stamps from the Forever Lovely stamp set. So the first thing we're going to do is take this stamp. Let me show you on this one here. And we're going to stamp that with Pear Pizzazz. The reason I'm doing that is I found it easier to line up the roses or the flowers with the greenery. I have a little bit of difficulty doing these multi-layer stamps, so this is I found to be a little bit easier. I still didn't get it lined up 100%, but okay. And I just want to take a peek here. Card, yeah, I want it to be this way. You'll see there's a larger space here that's for the larger of the roses, and I want that down towards the bottom. So I'm going to stamp this down here towards the bottom of my card, of my panel. I've inked it with the Pear Pizzazz. You don't have to give it super hard pressure. I just want to give it a good even pressure and let the ink get into the paper. Very nice. Okay. Let's close that up so I don't get ink all over. Okay, this is the second layer, which is these flowers here. And I'm using Melon Mambo ink. It looks a little dark today for some reason. It's a little gray and gloomy out today. That's probably why. Okay, and make sure you have it in the right position. This large flower is going to go in this space here. I'm going to stand up. And you just want to try and line them up with the images best you can. It's not perfect. It's not going to be the end of the world, but where's that? That one goes up there. That one goes like that. Okay, I'm just going to stamp it down. And again, you don't need to give super heavy pressure. It is a photopolymer stamp. Perfect. Okay. Close up the Melon Mambo or ink so I don't get it all over. Now I'm going to take the Wishing You a Lovely Day from the same stamp set and the Memento ink. I'm going to ink that up. Now this ink pad has a different, it's got like a linen fabric on the top of it, so I find I have to give it just a little bit of a jiggle to get it to ink solidly. I jiggle it and then I tap it. Okay, then we're going to go up here in this position, somewhere in here. Set the ink pad down, or the stamp pad down. Just make sure it's making contact everywhere. Leave it for a second. And lift it up. Perfect. Okay. Now, we're going to bring in our card base. I'm going to bring in our snail. Open it up. Snail on it. Okay, and then we're going to just center it on the front of this card. It's just going to have an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. And so I don't get ink all over the front of it. My workspace is clean. Turn it upside down and rub it from the back. Alright, we got a nice, clean and simple card for our first card. Okay, then we're going to step it up a notch for the next one. This is the next one. So for this one we're going to need, this white piece is Whisper White, and it's an 1/8 of a sheet, so it's 2 3/4 by 4 1/4. Okay, then we have a couple little strips of gold foil to go on either side of that. We have a piece of Melon Mambo, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and one of the gold foil edged cards and envelopes. Okay, so let's start by stamping this piece. We're going to do the same thing that we did with the other ones, except we're going to put the sentiment in a slightly different location. And we're going to start with the, for some reason I'm having a hard time opening these today. I'm going to start with the leaves, or the greenery, and I'm going to ink it up with the Pear Pizzazz. This time I want to stamp it a little bit more towards the top because I want my sentiment down at the bottom side. So I'm going to stamp it right there. Perfect. Okay, now for the flowers. Melon Mambo. Ink that up. Okay, again I gotta stand up so I can see through it. Try to line it up as best I can. Which way do I gotta go? I suppose you could use your Stamparatus if you could get it lined up in it. That would probably work the best. Okay, perfect. Okay, now we're going to take our sentiment, the Memento ink again. And we're going to stamp it down here in this side at the bottom, right hand side this time. It's not all inked. There we go. Leave it a minute so it transfers. Perfect. Alright, now we're going to set this aside for a minute. We're going to bring in our Melon Mambo piece, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and we're adding another stamp. We're going to add this stamp. We're going to stamp this background with it, with the Melon Mambo ink on the Melon Mambo cardstock. Okay, and I got a scrap paper here so I don't soil up my sheet. And there's no wrong or right way. I just recommend turning the stamp now and then so you get some on and some off. So I'm just going to stamp this whole background. Some of it we're going to cover up in the center. I overlap there a little, but that's alright. Won't hurt anything. Okay, so that's our background. So we're done with stamping. Alright, get this inky thing out of the way. I'm going to bring in our card base. We're going to mount this on the card base. So we want to figure out, before we put it down, which part we want to be up. Do we want it to be that way? Or do we want it to be this way? I don't think it matters in this instance. I think I'm going to do it this way. And I just realized this card is a little bit longer, but I think I like it that way, so we'll leave it. Okay, so we're going to mount the Melon Mambo to our card base. I'm going to use snail. Oops, I got to open it. Okay, just center it on this gold-edged card. It's got a 1/8 of an inch border all the way around it. Okay, now this piece, I'm going to bring in my silicone mat, and I'm going to put the snail right on the edge of this. Fold it up like that so it folds back over on itself. I'm going to take one of these gold pieces, and I want to make sure I get the straight edge. I'm going to line it up so there's a little bit of a gold edge. And I think on this one I'm going to do a little bit of a larger edge. The other pieces were scraps and I only had that like 1/16 of an inch. Like a piece off of a stamped image. Okay. Let's do the same on the other side. You can use wet glue as well. The Tombow works well for this. Make sure I got my straight edge. See how it's all wonky? It was just a scrap piece. press it down. Okay, now I'm going to bring in my snips. I'm going to turn it from the back and I'm going to trim off this extra. Sorry, I got interrupted. Okay, turn it over. Okay, now we're going to place this on the front of our card. It's a little bit wonky here. Let me trim it a little bit more. And we're just going to use snail to adhere it to the front. Now on this one, I trimmed it down so that the gold edges showed, but I kind of like it all the way across as well, so you can do it either way. So let's put snail on the back of this. I'm putting a lot because these cards have a little bit of mind of their own. Actually, I need to trim this anyway, so I'm going to take it over to my trimmer, put you on pause, I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I trimmed it down so it's 4 inches wide. So we'll have this gold trim on the edge of it. This card must be a little bit scant of 4 1/4. So it didn't work the other way. Okay, and I've got the glue already on the back. I'm just setting it down. When I have it where I want it, I will stick it down. And for some reason it's not cooperating with me. Try it again. Alright, there we go. Now we have 2 lovely cards today. Very clean and simple, easy cards. Here's the other one. Well, thank you so much for joining me at my craft table. I hope you have a great rest of your day.